Unit 3 review. This test is going to cover everything from all of Unit 3, so go back about 6 or 7 weeks, everything MX plus B related. These 8 topics are the most important topics, so let's see what we got. First thing is standard form equations. That is when we have AX plus BY equals C. Usually you're just rearranging these into slope-intercept form. So looking at number 1, convert the equation 2x minus 4y equals 24 to slope-intercept form. Well, we have to isolate the y. So start by minus 2x from both sides. We have negative 4y. Don't forget that negative 4. A lot of times we lose our negative moving down to the second line, but negative 4 has to stay negative. Equals negative 2x plus 24. Divide both sides by negative 4, and we end up with y equals negative 2 over negative 4 is a positive 1/2 x. 24 over negative 4 is minus 6. There we go. Number 2, are these two lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? And then it gives us 2 equations. Very different question than number 1, but really it's the exact same thing as far as what we need to do. Parallel and perpendicular, we know slopes are the same, and opposite reciprocal. Ooh, that's ugly. I need to know the slopes of both of these equations. This equation and the second equation. Neither of them are in slope-intercept form. I need to put them both into slope-intercept form. So that's what we're doing here. Getting the y by itself. Minus 8x to both sides. I'll start with this first equation here. Negative 2y equals negative 8x plus 10. Divide by negative 2. And we have y equals negative 8 over negative 2 is positive 4x. Really, I could stop there because I only need the slope. But the y-intercept, minus 5. We'll do that for practice. Second equation, solve for y here. Add x to both sides. We get 4y equals x plus 8. Divide by 4. Y equals, this is a 1x here, so when we divide it, we have 1/4. X plus 8 over 4 is 2. There's the 2 equations in slope-intercept form. To figure out if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither, we've got to look at the slopes. This first equation has a slope of 4. The second one has a slope of 1/4. They're not the same. They are reciprocals, but not opposite reciprocals, so they're not perpendicular. These are neither. Not parallel or perpendicular. The next 3, I'm going to pause it, solve them, give you the answers, let you check them. I'm not going to work those out on video because this is going to be a long video if I do all these problems. Alright, here's 3, 4, and 5. So pause it, check your work if you need to. Straightforward questions here and nothing too special about any of those. Let's move on to the second topic, which is the nth term, topic we just finished looking over the last few days. Number 1, we're trying to find the formula that can be used to determine the nth term of this pattern. And then part 2, what is the 50th term in this pattern? So looking here, I see I'm counting up by 4s. It continues going up by 4, so that's my slope. Starting number is 25, so I'm going to say 25 plus 4 n minus 1. There's my formula for a sub n. The other way you could do this would be a sub n equals 4n plus our y-intercept, back up 1 to the 0th term. We're subtracting 4, which would give us 21. So either one of these would work. You don't need both. I'd be familiar with both because you might see one or the other on the test. The 50th term, we want to plug in 50 for n. So that just means n is 50. And when I do that, I get, I'm going to use this one. This looks easier to do the math. 4 times 50 is 200 plus 21 is 221. There's our 50th term. The next three, I'm going to pause, write the answers down, let you check your answers that way. Alright, here we have 2, 3, 4, and 5. I gave you both answers for each one. Kind of separate those a little bit. Nothing real tricky here. Both ways work just as good. Number 5, the only trick there is they don't give you the pattern. You have to count the matches before you see the pattern. 4, 7, 10. Once you have the numbers there, 4, 7, 10, you can ignore the whole picture and just look at those numbers. We're counting up by 3s. We're starting at 4. So there's your 2 formulas. You don't need both. Choose one, stick with it, or switch back and forth. Your choice. Next topic. Parallel and perpendicular lines. Oh, we're changing pages on accident. Let's go back. Here we go. Find the equation of the line graphed and create an equation parallel and an equation perpendicular. Before I even start, I'm going to remind you, parallel means same slope. Perpendicular means opposite, reciprocal, slope. So, starting with this line, let's find the equation. Y-intercept is -2. My slope looks like it is 1/3. So I'm going to say, what? Back up. There we go. Y equals 1/3 x minus 2. That is the equation graphed. Parallel to that would be any equation with a 1/3 x. So y equals 1/3 x plus 7. So the y-intercept could be anything there as long as your slope is 1/3. That's all that matters. Multiple correct answers for that. Opposite reciprocal. Our slope, 1/3, needs to change to a negative and reciprocal, which is 3/1, which is -3. So any equation with a -3 slope. Why are you doing that? There we go. Y equals -3x minus 5. Minus 5 does not have to be -5. It can be anything. Number 2, find the equation of a line through the point 8, 1. I already know that's going to be my x and y, and perpendicular to y equals -1/3 x plus 2. They're giving me this equation only because I know mine needs to be perpendicular. I know what perpendicular means. It means opposite reciprocal slopes. So my line has to have a slope of positive 3/1, which is 3. So that's my m. 8 and 1 are my x and y. I'm going to use y equals mx plus b. Plug in all 3 numbers that are given in the problem. So y is 1 equals m is 3 times x is 8 plus b. This comes out to be 1 equals 24 plus b. Get the b by itself, and we have -23 equals b. That's not my answer. That just goes in my answer. My answer is going to be the equation y equals 3x minus 23. Take your m from there. Take your b from there. Those combine to make your equation. All right, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to pause, save some time on the video. All right, here we got 3, 4, and 5. 3 parallel means same slope. So you got your m and then x and y. plug it into y equals mx plus b just like we did here. Number 4, perpendicular means we have to get opposite reciprocal slope. -3 will switch to positive 1/3. Number 5, a little bit tricky here. We have the equation 2x plus y equals 7. We have to be able to get the slope of that equation. It's not in slope-intercept form, so we need to rearrange it. You would minus 2x to both sides, and it would become negative 2x plus 7 equals y. So that gives us a slope of -2. So that's our m. And then use the x and the y, 8, 3, to find your equation. Next topic. Trend line and line of fit. We got scatter plots here. This is going to be tough to do on the review video because it's going to be different for everybody depending on what points you choose. But keep in mind that your answer might be different than mine. That doesn't mean you're wrong. They should be similar, but not too far off. Number 1, we have this ice cream sales versus temperature. They give us the trend line, which makes it easy. I need to find 2 ordered pairs on the line. Not near the line, but on the line. If there's not a yellow diamond on the line, then don't use one. I see this right here is 10, 100. So 10, 100. There's another one. I don't want to do ones really close. I want to go on the opposite side of the graph. I see right there. It's on 22, 500. So red 2. Interesting. Once I have those points, this becomes just a slope formula and point slope formula question. The slope, y minus y, over x minus x, is 400 over 12, which reduces to, let's see, and we're going to calculate that. 33.3. That is our slope. That's the m. I need to use an x and a y from an ordered pair. I'm going to choose 10, 100. This x, y, and m is going to combine into y equals mx plus b to give me my y-intercept. Really quick, I want to point something out. If you look at the graph, it looks like it crosses the y-axis at 100, but that's not my y-axis. This is not 0, this is at 10. So do not just look here and say that 100 is your b. That's not the y-axis, it's not going to work. Same thing down here on number 3. This is not the 0. On number 2, though, it does look like it's the 0. So there, we're going to have a little shortcut down here. I know my y-intercept is 35. So, worry about that later. Get back up to number 1. Y is 100 equals 33.3 times x is 10 plus b. 33.3 becomes 333 plus b minus 333 from both sides, and b equals negative 233. That's my y-intercept. That's going to join my slope to give us the equation y equals 33.3 x minus 233. That's the equation of our trend line. 2 and 3, I'll pause it, give you the answers, let you compare. Alright, number 2 and 3. Number 2 was fairly easy with the y-intercept being given to us. I know it's 35 because this is my y-axis. This is 0 for the x value. So, just get your 2 ordered pairs. There was an easy one right there, being the y-intercept. There wasn't really any other convenient spot to use. That one looks fairly close, but I don't want to choose 2 points too close to each other, far apart. So I chose this dot at the very far end of the graph, 72, 4. Do your slope formula to get negative 0.43. Put the m and the b together to get your equation, negative 0.43x plus 35. Number 3, we had to draw our own trend line. This is really where your answers might be different than mine, because you could have drawn a completely different trend line, but it should be somewhat close. My slope was 37.5. Yours should be fairly close to that. Anything between 30 and 45 maybe I would say is acceptable. Hopefully closer to 37.5. The y-intercept is again going to be pretty different, but I can tell it's going to be very low because this 84, 80, it's going to count way down. It's going to be far away before it finally gets to 0. This trend line is going down for a long time. It's going to hit down around negative 3,000. The 2 points I chose were 80, 0 and 96, 600. That's up here at the top, right there, and right there. So, my equation, 37.5x minus 3,000. Next topic. We have rate of change word problems. It's been a while since we looked at any of these, but still going to be on the test. Shouldn't be too difficult. Mr. Morrison's dog had puppies 2 months ago. One of the puppies weighed 9.6 pounds when he was 3 weeks old. That is 3, 9.6. We have that ordered pair there. Same puppy weighed 18.4 pounds and he was 7 weeks old. So 7, 18.4. At what rate is the puppy gaining weight? So, I know that the puppy gained how many pounds? 18.4 minus 9.6, which is, what is that, 8.8 pounds, if I remember right. I'm trying to remember this answer off the test when we had it. This was an old test question. 18.4 minus 9.9 is 8.5. That's 9.6, not 9.9. There we go. 8.8 over how many weeks long? That was from 7 weeks to 4 weeks, so we subtract that and we get 7 weeks to 3 weeks. Oh my goodness. What's going on here? That was a 4-week period. So it lost 8.8 pounds in 4 weeks. We want to reduce that to pounds per week. If they want the rate, you don't give them pounds per 4 weeks, so we would say 2.2 pounds per week. Number 2, cat had kittens 2 months ago. One of the kittens weighs, so pretty much the exact same problem. I'll skip it then if it's the exact same problem. Let's jump down to number 3. While on a road trip to Denver, I passed a sign that said Denver, 542 miles. 3 hours later, another sign said Denver, 317 miles. How fast am I driving? So speed, how fast, that's the rate of change. That's essentially slope. The change in distance, so how many miles did I drive? Let's see, I went from 542 to 317. Quit changing pages on me. Now, that change in distance happened over how many hours? Well, one of them was, it doesn't give me a time for the first one, but it says 3 hours later, so it's just going to be divided by 3. So 542 minus 317 is 225 over 3 hours, which is 75 miles per hour. I'm going to pause to give you the rest of it after that. Okay, number 2, we have 3.1 pounds per week for the kitten. Number 3, we already worked. Number 4, my coffee. 24 ounces at first. 35 minutes later, it's down to 17 ounces. So it went down 7 ounces in 35 minutes. That is negative 0.2 ounces per minute. If you just told me 0.2 ounces per minute. Now, this one's kind of, the sign here is a little bit weird, the -2. Yes, I am drinking coffee, which means the amount in the cup is going down, but it asks at what rate am I drinking my coffee. You wouldn't say I'm drinking -2 ounces or -0.2 ounces per minute. So the sign there could be kind of a positive or negative depending on how you are answering. Number 5, my beard is 1 centimeter long on November 5th, November 30th. I'm expecting it to be 8 centimeters long. I was growing a beard out last year when we had this problem, so that's what that was referring to. It would grow 7 centimeters in 25 days in this scenario, which is 0.28 centimeters per day. Direct variation. Y equals kx. Straight line through the origin. Those are all the important things you need to know. Which of the following tables is a direct variation? For a table, here's my explanation. K, which is y over x, has to be the same for every row in a table. Must be the same. So, look at table A. We have 21 over 3, which is 7. We have 35 over 5, which is 7. 49 over 7, which is 7. All of these are the same, so this is a direct variation. If they ask me what the k is, or the constant of variation, it would be k equals 7. Table B, if I divide y over x, I have 8 over 2, which is 4. 12 over 4 is 3. Those already don't match up. That is not a direct variation. Number 2, a t-shirt design company charges a fixed amount of $50 to design a shirt and then charges $12 per shirt that is ordered. Write a function that represents the total cost as a function of the number of shirts ordered. Does this represent a direct variation? Explain your answer. So, the cost equals $50 to design the shirt plus $12 per shirt. Is this a direct variation? I would say no, because it has a y-intercept. This plus 50, which is our y-intercept, makes it not proportional. Proportional would be if you doubled the amount of shirts, it would double the cost. In this case, that's not the same. If I ordered 2 shirts, it would cost $24 plus 50, so $74. If I doubled it to 4 shirts, it would not just double the cost to $148. It would be $48 for the 4 shirts plus 50, which is $98. It would not be double. It's not proportional. Proportional. So that's that. Last 3. Number 3, 4, and 5. Number 3, we have an equation that we need to determine if it's a direct variation or not. Equations have to be able to be written in the form y equals kx with no plus b. That's the key word, or the key thing here. You cannot have a plus b at all, just y equals kx. Here, if we rearrange this equation into y equals kx form, we do get y equals negative 3 over 2x. So yes, this is a direct variation because it is in the form y equals kx. Number 4, pizza at Little Caesars. The cost is $5 each, so we have y equals 5x. Again, that is a direct variation because it's in the form y equals kx. Number 5, a table. Going back up to like on number 1, all of the y over x's must be the same. 7 over 1 is 7. 11 over 3 is not 7, so not a direct variation. Last page. Number 1, the function f of x equals 2x minus 3, or the function f of x is 2x minus 3. G of x is defined as 2 times f of x. If these two functions are graphed together, how would g of x be different than f of x? So, f of x, I already know, is that. G of x is 2 times f of x. Well, f of x is 2x minus 3. So I'm going to distribute. We get 4x minus 6. This is g of x right here. So how would these two look different if they were graphed? Well, how would g of x be different? It would be steeper. It'd be twice as steep because it has a slope of 4 rather than 2. So let's say twice as steep. And the y-intercept would not be negative 3. It's going to be shifted down to negative 6. And shifted 3 units. Whoops. Down. So the slope and the y-intercept were double in that situation. Number 2, f of x is 1/2 x plus 3. What is the equation to g of x if it has a slope that is doubled? Well, 1/2 is my slope. If I double that, I get 1x. And is shifted down 5 units. Well, right now it's at 3. So if I'm at 3, and I shift down 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to be at negative 2. So there's my g of x doubled with a y-intercept 5 units lower. So y equals 1x minus 2. I could just say x minus 2. That's all the same. The last 4, I'll give you the answers really quick. Number 3, we have f of x plus 4. That's just 4 being added to the end of the equation, which is going to add 4 to the y-intercept to make it 4x plus 5. Number 4, 8x plus 1, we're doubling the x alone, which would make just the slope go up by a factor of 2. Number 5, we're halving the entire function, so 2x plus 0.5. Number 6, we are changing the x. Instead of 4x plus 1, we're changing the x to x plus 5. That's going to do some weird things to it. The slope is going to turn to 4x. The y-intercept is going to get this extra term of 20 added in there, which would be combined to still give us combined with the 1 to give us 4x plus 21. Alright, I just realized there was no horizontal and vertical lines on the review, so I had to add the slide really quick. First part, what is the equation of the line graphed? So we have a horizontal line that is 2 units up. A horizontal line has a slope of 0. It has a y-intercept of 2. This is a normal equation with a normal slope, a normal y-intercept. It can be written in slope-intercept form. Low battery. Y equals 0x plus 2, or just y equals 2. Second one, same thing as 0 slope, that is down 1 unit. Y equals negative 1. A vertical line, this is the new topic. It is an undefined slope that is over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units to the left. So we can't write y equals. There is no slope, there's no y-intercept. This is where it becomes x equals. In this case, it's negative 5. The opposite down here on the bottom, we have y equals 4. We have to make the graph. Well, that is slope-intercept form. That's going to be a 0 slope because there is, you could imagine it like 0x plus 4. That's going to be a horizontal line. So up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. x equals -1. That is undefined. So up and down line at -1. It's going to look like that. Last one, this is a little bit different. I wanted to give you this one just so you can kind of compare it with over here, how they sort of look the same, except there is an x here. This one has a slope. It doesn't have a plus b. The plus b is 0. So it starts in the middle. We do have a slope, 2/1. So up 2/1, and it's going to look like this. So I know this technically isn't a horizontal or vertical line, but I just wanted you to see how that compares with the first one over here. They look a little bit similar, except you add an x on it and it changes everything. So there's Unit 3. Test on Wednesday. Good luck.